All right, good evening, everybody. It is just after 8:30 on our Tuesday evening, and we are ready to get going with our Breakers Club. This is the third night of Breakers Club, and tonight we will be busting three boxes. We will be breaking a box of 2002 Upper Deck Authentics. We'll be busting a box of 2000 Stadium Club Chrome and a retail box of 2001 Fleer Triple Crown. So three pretty full boxes, and that's what we will be breaking tonight. Good evening, JC. Good evening, Adam. So I think, figure out how to get the names, the team names on who has what on the screen to show up for a bit. I'm still trying to. I use the free version of Restream software, so I'm still trying to figure out how to get. It's not great yet, but it's better than it was. I'm not going to leave it on the screen because it takes up too much real estate. I fear there's like wasted space that I couldn't figure out how to get rid of for now, but I will keep working on it. Excuse me. But at least now we have all the teams, and I do agree that that's something that I should at least have up if I don't verbally go through them at the beginning of each video. So I don't remember if it was JC or Adam or one of you guys or somebody else. I forget who suggested that last time, but there we go. So I did listen. And speaking of JC in particular, JC, I have to give a giant thank you. I received a very large box from you in the mail today with a lot of shipping supplies and some sleeves and whatnot. So very much appreciated. And I just wanted to let you know that I got the package earlier this evening, in fact. And yes, awesome. I haven't even opened the whole thing up yet to sort, but I wanted to make sure to thank you. All right. With that in mind, let's see if I can figure out how to stop sharing this thing. There we go. Look at that. Okay. So we are now ready to actually get cracking. Yeah. Let's go with, let's do Stadium Club first. We'll save the Authentics for last, I think, tonight. I don't know why. Just the order I feel like. Yes, it arrived today. Thank you, JC. Very fun surprise. Much appreciated, for sure. I know it was nice to get something other than a bill in the mail. All right, so 2000 Stadium Club Chrome. There's like extra tape on this one down here. An extra seal. Try not to stab my. Even some mini sleeves. I appreciate that. Yes, Ginter. Hopefully will be. Hopefully, I'll be able to buy some. Stuff sells out pretty quick, but yeah, I'm planning to try to get us some Ginter for sure. Okay, so we should have in this box. This is a hobby box, so there should be 24 packs with 5 chromium cards per pack, according to that. So let's see what we get. All right. So we start off with a checklist. I wish Topps still included checklists. I don't know. I know the internet's a thing, but I like the checklist. And then let's just try to dump all those out. So there's your empty box. There's all the packs. And now we can get ripping. All right, let me get too much. So what you can't quite see just off camera, that's the empty box. I think I showed that already. Just off camera is all of the card sorting that I'm doing. So I have 2 big trays. I'll show you quickly. That's how I sort everyone's group break cards. So they're just off camera, but those trays take up a lot of real estate on my desk. So yeah. Anyway, we'll make it work. Okay, so we've got Stadium Club Chrome 2000. I'm not sure if I have opened this set at all. I couldn't remember when I ordered the box, but I do like the 2000 set design. So our first, I'm going to stick just a little bit. Let's try to see if we can't separate those. Maybe. Okay. So our first card is going to the Brewers. Jeremy Burnitz. I really like this Stadium Club design. And that's what the back looks like. Stadium Club for a while had interesting backs. This one is no exception. It gives you the left, right breakdown, home, away, day, night, grass, turf, and his total for the previous season, his batting totals in the case of Burnett's. And I always enjoyed a slightly different twist on the statistics. We've got Roger Cedeno for the Astros. We have a Visionaries John Patterson, who I have never heard of. And it is a refractor Visionary. It's nice and shiny. We'll put that up there. Preston Wilson for the Marlins. And Pokey Reese for my Reds. Let's see. Visionary refractors are 1 in 90 packs, according to the pack wrapper. Another thing I wish Top Still did. Odds are right on the pack wrapper. In fact, I want to save one pack wrapper just so I have those handy. All right. They do stick a little bit, as you can maybe hear from the card separating. There we go. So our next card is Mike Bordick of the Orioles. What do we think of Stadium Club Chrome, I should say, from 2000? Brad Ausmus, Tigers. That's a pretty cool shot. I like that. We've got Ken Griffey Jr. for my Reds. Jose Canseco for the Rays. And Nomar Garciaparra for the Red Sox. I'm wondering with the Stadium Club if the light would help. Let's try it with the light. It is very shiny, especially that refractor. All right, what do we think? Is it better with the light? I don't know. Garrett Anderson. They are hard to read for me. Garrett Anderson. Angels. Doug Glanville. Phillies. We have Wilton Veras, future star for the Red Sox. And for the Indians, Omar Vizquel. And I think that's 3 Reds and 3 packs. Scott Williamson. That's almost unheard of. Adam says these are shiny. I agree. And JC says hard to go wrong with Stadium Club plus Chrome combo, which I also agree with. All right, so I don't know why Schilling was going the opposite direction, but there's Kurt Schilling for the Phillies. We've got Ray Langford, Cardinals. We have Josh Hamilton draft pick card. There was a time where that was a really good card. Poor Hamilton just couldn't get it together. Both, well, professionally, but more so in his personal life. Mariano Rivera, nice one for the Yankees. And how about a really nice Tony Clark? And I love Stadium Club for the photography, of course. And when you add the chrome, I agree. It's a good combination. All right, so this one actually has card damage. I don't know if you can see that. It's up here. You can kind of see it there. So this is a slightly damaged John Smoltz for the Braves. Red Sox, Jose Offerman. And behind him is another draft pick, Omar Ortiz for the Padres. Don't remember that name. Ron Coomer for the Twins. And for the Giants, Rich Aurelia. So I don't like the slightly damaged card, but otherwise, not bad. Always curious how cards can be damaged when they, the brand new unopened hobby box and it's in the middle of like a stack. Edgar Renteria, Cardinals. Harold Baines, Orioles. Behind him, doesn't want to separate. All right, I'll come back to that. Matt Williams, Diamondbacks. We have a future star AJ Burnett for the Marlins. And then on the backside of this is something special. There it goes. Okay, so there was the Harold Baines. And then we have a Eyes of the Game clear acetate. Well, opaque acetate. Randy Johnson for the Diamondbacks. That's a sweet card. I don't think I've ever seen that set before. Let's see if I can find the odds on that quickly. 1 in 16 packs, it looks like, for the Eyes of the Game. That's cool. I like that one. Oh, I took my list down of who has the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks. Triple L Supreme has the Diamondbacks. So there you go, my friend. Triple L, one of the early joiners of my Discord channel, which is much appreciated. Edgardo Alfonso. That's a pretty cool picture for the Mets. A lot of good pictures. Brett Boone, Padres. I always forget he went to the Padres for a while. They don't want to separate. Jim Tomei, Indians. Christian Guzman, Twins. And behind Mr. Boone is Jeff Kent, San Francisco Giant and former Survivor player. Not winner, though. All right, one more in this stack. This is a nice set. I'm glad I bought this so far, at least. Carlos Feebles for the Royals. Carl Everett, Red Sox. We have a Visionaries, Josh Hamilton. So that's just your regular Visionaries as opposed to the John Patterson refractor. And you can see a very clear difference with the light on those two cards. Hamilton, of course, for the Rays, if I didn't say that already. Ron Belliard Brewers. And Niefe Perez for the Rockies. All right. Well, we're going every which way again. There's a pretty sweet Torrey Hunter about to crash into a wall. We have Damian Easley upside down here. Jumping over a Mariner. 4 Mariners. We have a refractor. Yes, I caught it. Carlos Delgado for the Blue Jays. That is a refractor base card. Going to Toronto. Toronto. That's going to Mike. There you go, Mike. I think Mike usually has to watch these after the fact because he's across the pond, as they say. We've got Eric Munson for the Tigers draft pick and a very nice Cal Ripken for Baltimore. Baltimore going to Super Gadget, who's usually in the room. So maybe, I don't know who Super Gadget's here tonight, but I'm sure that will be a prized card. Andrew Jones for the Braves. And behind Andrew is Josh Girdley. Josh Girdley for the Expos. And then we have another different acetate type thing. Clear shots. Andrew Jones of the Braves. Going to Jackal. That's a pretty sweet. Oh, and you get the back of the player on the back. I like that. I like that card a lot. Very nice. Wow. Those are super cool. John Wetland Rangers and Jose Vidro Expos. And the clear shots are seeded. Let's see. 1 in 24 packs. So essentially a box hit. Adam says he did not know about the Jeff Kent, and he's glad the Blue Jays brought their old logo back. I agree. I agree on both things. I don't think I'd seen that Kent before. It's a nice picture. And I did not like the quote-unquote more modern Blue Jays logo. We got Tony Gwynn for the Padres. Nice one for San Diego right there. Padres going to, where are my Padres on my list? This is the problem when I don't put on Swinko. Swinko is the Padres. I knew that. Rays get Dave Martinez. We got Todd Zeal for the Mets. There's Fred the Crime Dog for the Rays. And Todd Walker for the Twins with the ball sort of in the foreground there. That's a kind of a neat, slightly different image. Style. Which, of course, is what you want out of Stadium Club, especially when you make it shiny Stadium Club. Dave Nilsson, Brewers. A nice Chippa Jones for the Braves. Ryan Klesko for the That's 2 of those. And Bernie Williams. That's a pretty cool card. I'm not sure if I've seen that image either. So we are getting some duplicates. Or at least one. Maybe more so far. One that I caught. How about that? Scott Morgan. Can't say I remember him for the Indians. There's a pretty cool Jeff Bagwell card. Look at that shot. That's just good stuff. Brian Meadows, Padres. Behind him, well, on the vest card is Omar Dahl for the Diamondbacks. And then, there we go. Alex Fernandez for the Marlins. JC, Rays in the 2000s where all of your heroes went to die. That's funny. And Adam says, not sure if he still has the record, but Todd Zeile played in the most games without being an all-star. Well, there's a record that I'm not sure I want. It's kind of like being the hit leader in the minor leagues, right? It's like good and bad, I guess. Scott Brocious, Yankees. Speaking of a guy who, this is a name that is the late 90s, Peter Bergeron. I don't know that he ever became anything in the big leagues, but boy, he had a lot of cards around this time for the Expos. The Pirates getting on the board with Bobby Bradley. And then we've got 2 more here. BJ Surhoff for the Orioles and Mickey Lopez for the Brewers. Donnie, good evening. Donnie says, I think the A's have hit a single card yet. I'll see what I can do, Donnie. Now that you brought it to my attention, let's see if we can't hit one. We got a nice Pat Burrell Future Star. Not for the A's, but for the Phillies. The A's were in Philly once. Does that sort of count? Tony Fernandez, Blue Jays. There's a nice Rick Assortian, another name that you got a lot of around this time. Draft pick there for the Red Sox. We have Kevin Tapani for the Cubs and Richie Sexson for the Indians. We still have a lot of packs to go too, Donnie. Not just for this box, but I'll try to get you a shiny here. I'm trying. Here's an actual future star, Lance Berkman for the Astros. Look how young he is in this. Looks like he's like a middle schooler. Robin Ventura, Mets. Behind that, Sean Green of the Dodgers. We got Ellis Burks, Giants, and Todd Helton for the Rockies. For the Cubs, future star Corey Patterson. He'll never be a future star in my eyes. When he was a Red, he was terrible. Future star Sean Burrows for the Padres. Reggie Sanders, Braves. Jack Cust, future star for the Diamondbacks. And John Flaherty for the Rays. That's a cool shot, too. All the green in the background there. A lot of great images, in fact. I think I see an Athletic. I think I did it. I think I pulled one. All right. Pablo Ozuna for the Marlins. Henry Rodriguez, Cubbies. For the Giants, Russ Davis. And behind him is a Diamondback, Jay Bell. And then a true future star, Mark Mulder for the Athletics. There's another actual decent player with the future star tag. Mulder had several good years. Oh, the A's are coming in droves now. Just wait for this. Ryan Christensen for the Mariners is our first draft pick. And then another A, Miguel Tejada. We've got a Capture the Action, Wade Boggs Legends for the Rays. That's what the back of that looks like. And for my Reds, Sean Casey. And behind Mr. Casey is Jason Giambi for, you guessed it, the A's. That's a pretty cool shot. I like with the guys in the dugout, too. I don't think I've ever seen that card. Like it. Very cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Not a set you buy if you want tons of autographs and relics, but if you want nice looking base cards, can't really go wrong with this one. Another Athletic, Ben Grieve. The A's were just all in the one stack, apparently. Kyle Snyder, draft pick. There's also a fair number of guys I've never heard of, which is kind of fun. Ooh, we have a refractor capture the action. Nomar Garciaparra going to Super Gadget. Yep, refractor right there at the top. That's a pretty sweet looking card. Tino Martinez for the Yankees. I just gave away Tino card over on the Patreon channel on my Discord today. And Steve Finley for the Diamondbacks. Let's see. Let's capture the action. Refractors are seeded 1 in 90 packs. So we're doing well on those. Let's see. JC Jack Cuss name ever in a day. Yep. And Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs was like the Ray to put in sets for I don't know how many years, several years. It felt like, especially if it was like anyone with quote unquote stars or recently retired players, could count and gain Boggs as a Ray. Lee Stevens, Expos. Quilvio Veras, Braves. There's another name I haven't heard in a while. How about this nice refractor? Trevor Hoffman for the Padres, refractor. That's sweet. That's a cool card. And Adrian Beltre for the Dodgers. And Eurubio Durazo, another name you don't hear much of, for the Diamondbacks. All right. Marquise Grissom, Brewers. Mickey Morandini, Phillies. Behind him is another Eyes of the Game. Tony Gwynn for the Padres. Going to Swinko. I really like the acetate cards. I'm such a sucker for those. Luis Gonzalez, Diamondbacks. And Derek Jeter. Not card 1. Just curious because he's the cover boy on the pack wrappers. That is a gorgeous refractor. The refractors in this set are sharp. Bob Abreu, Phillies. There's still some sticking, but it seems to be mostly okay. John Sneed, Future Stars. We have a True Colors insert. Mike Piazza of the Mets. Not the most exciting insert, but I bet the refractor version looks cool. Devin White, Dodgers. And Roberto Alomar, Cleveland. And we've got one pack left. Let's see. The True Colors are they listed on here? No, they're 1 in 32 packs, so they're actually less than 1 per box. So we're having a solid box. All right, and our final pack for this box: Mike Lieberthal, Phillies. Who is this? Hit Pello. Is his first name actually Hit? Kit. That's Kit Pello. Okay. All right, I was going to say. Never heard of him. Royals. For the Red Sox, Brad Baker, draft pick. Never heard of him either. And then we've got Ray Durham for the White Sox. And there's another Jason Giambi. I like that card the first time. I still like it. All right. JC said, just looked at it on TCDB. The Griffey Jr. Eyes of the Game card is freaking gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know who the Bello guy is. And Donnie says they need to make cards like these again. I agree. These are sharp. The base set is beautiful. The inserts are fine. The refractors, though, I mean, we pulled 2 refractor inserts, which are really cool. Obviously the base refractors, the Delgado is fine. I don't think the image does it, but that Hoffman, I don't know. Something about that I really like. Just the way it looks in the light. Get the shine on that. That one's really cool. But then, I mean, for me, the highlights have to be the 3, the 2 Eyes of the Game and the clear shots. I just like those. So I'm super, super pleased with this box, honestly. Good stuff. Even I think that's proof that you don't have to have no serial numbering, no relics, and it still feels like it was a very solid, interesting box. And that's really all you can ask for. All right, let me move that box out of the way. All right, we got facts about Kit Pello. Had a nice career. He has a whopping 67 total cards. So you're saying that it wouldn't take much to be a Kit Pello super collector. Only 67 cards. Now, if it were 67 cards in the modern era, there would be, 56 of those would be parallels of some type, half of which would be numbered under 10 and maybe even autographed. And so even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to collect them. But in 2000, you might be able to. So, we got 1 out of 67 of his entire career's worth of baseball cards. All right, our next box is going to be this. I guess we're in a Derek Jeter frame of mind because we had Jeter on our pack wrappers from Chrome, and now we've got Jeter on the 2001 Triple Crown. Kit Pello has a 2025 card. In what set, JC? Like one of those Leaf sets that nobody collects or even buys? All right, so this is a retail box, which I don't really know the exact difference other than the retail boxes had some retail specific stuff. So there should be, or potentially there will be Purple Crown parallels, which are retail exclusives. And then there is a chance for autographs and Field of Game relics. So I think the difference was maybe well, I guess I don't really know. Maybe the hobby had a guaranteed hit or something. But anyways, I was able to find a retail of this, and so that's what I went with. Adam says, no fun Rocky facts, but Kit Pello was a Rocky for 2 seasons. And JC came back with the set, the 2025 Vanguardia Sara Perros de Saltillo 55 Aniversario album. Okay, so maybe a Mexican League star. Apparently, Kit Pello. Adam, do you remember Kit Pello? Was that a name that you even remembered? I've never heard of that guy. But that's the fun of opening some of these older sets, or one of the things that's fun anyway. All right, so I guess before I rip this pack, we can see, maybe you can see on the pack wrapper here, there are 15 future threats, seed 1 in 10, 15 crowning achievements, 1 in 12, 15 glamour boys, 1 in 20, feel the game autographics, 1 in 168. The odds of finding an autographics card or a Feel the Game are 1 in 168 packs. So, all right, so not super likely that we'll get an autograph or relic, but hopefully still some fun stuff in here. I always like the Triple Crown line from Fleer. Adam says he vaguely rings a bell. He does not ring a bell to me, and I'm pretty sure if you ask me in a week, he won't ring a bell. So that's how my memory works. All right, so we got Marquis Grissom for the Brewers coming up first, and that's what your Triple Crown design looks like. Here's the back. Very late or early 2000s Fleer backs. And I don't mean that necessarily negatively because I like easy to read card number. I like team logo. I like secondary picture. Only thing I would personally change is put the card number up either in one of the top corners. I don't really like card numbers down at the bottom, but that's okay. We got Ryan Miner for the Orioles, Carlos Feebles, Royals. And these cards are also going to be going every which way I can see. We got Garrett Anderson for the Angels, Brian Giles, Pittsburgh, Matt Williams, Diamondbacks. We have a Prospects, Keith McDonald for the Cardinals. They get looks more like a green foil to me. Brady Anderson, Orioles. Ruben Rivera, Padres. That's a cool shot. And another prospect, Chris Richard of the Orioles. A lot of these prospects I don't know. All right, so Mr. Kit Pello backed up Todd Helton here and there. I guess you know what? You can say you backed up Todd Helton. That's something to hang your hat on. R.I.P. Ryan Miner. I guess I didn't know that. I don't even remember. Yeah. There's a Rocky Jeff Cirillo. Roger Cedeno Astros. Fernando Vina Cardinals. They're going every which way. Edgardo Alfonso Mets. Every which way. All right. We have another guy I don't remember. Andy Thompson for the Blue Jays. Looks like a big dude, though, for a young prospect. Jeremy Burnitz, Brewers. Jason Kendall, Pirates. Joe Randa, Royals. There's a pretty cool Homer Bush card for the Blue Jays. And Chan Perry, prospect for the Indians. Don't know him either. Public service announcement. Yeah. Well, that answers my question about what happened to him, I guess. Jason Varitek, Red Sox. Kevin Young, Pirates. Scott Ellerton, Astros. Scott Rowland, Phillies. Bernie Williams, Yankees. Chipper Jones, Braves. We have a prospect of Julio Zuleta. I do remember him. I don't know why. Jose Offerman, Red Sox. Ronnie Belliard of the Brewers. And Morgan Burkhart for the Red Sox, which I don't remember. The green foils seem to be the prospects in this set, Adam. There's no numbering on them. At least the couple I flipped over. They might be, there's 50 prospect cards, so they might be like a short print. The parallels in here are purple crowns, but I don't know. I'm assuming if we pull one, we'll know it when we find it. Mark Redmond, Twins. Rick Ankiel, Cardinals. Gerald Williams, Devil Rays. This looks like a purple parallel, yeah? I'd say so. Albert Bell of the Orioles. You can, maybe if I hold up a second card here, you can more clearly make out the difference in the foils. You can see that Bell is a purple. As far as I can tell, it's not numbered or anything, or even says that it's a special parallel, but there you go. Albert Bell for the Orioles. We got Aramis Ramirez for Pittsburgh at checklist. And then more cards going every which way. Bobby Higginson, Tigers. We got A-Rod. Nice A-Rod for the Mariners. Slam and Sammy for the Cubbies. We have another prospect, Adam Melhus, Rockies. There's your chance, Adam. We need a fun Rockies fact about Mr. Adam Melhus. Let's see. In 2000, he played in 23 games for the Rockies. He had 23 at-bats. He had 4 hits. So he batted a .174. He walked 3 times and struck out 5. I don't remember that guy at all. And Kerry Wood. Definitely remember him. All right. Luis Alicia for the Rangers. Don't know. Greg Maddux, Braves. That's a pretty cool Charles Johnson card. I like that one for the White Sox. Oh, we have something here. We have a future threat, Jeff Bagwell. He was a threat for Houston. That's kind of a cool card. Very Fleer. But again, I don't mean that in a negative light because I really like most of the Fleer stuff from this around this time frame. We got Mr. Todd Helton. We were just talking about him a little bit ago. Adam's got nothing for Melhus, but he says the dugout, so that counts. I gotta bring this dugout card back up here. So there's Todd Helton. Now I would have said that was Texas's dugout. But is that a Colorado C? I would have thought that. I guess it is a C. Okay. Didn't look at it close enough. Fair enough. Hey, Sean Casey from the Reds yelling at the baseball. Paul Konerko. I like sliding cards. Nice one for the White Sox. We got a prospect, Damian Rolls for the Rays. New game. How many prospects have I even heard of in this set? There's Derek Jeter, cover boy for this set. Yankees, of course. And another Derek, this time Derek Lee for the Marlins. You know what else I like about these? You get 10 cards in a pack. And the cards are like a decent like cardboard stock. Like that's a decent amount of cards to get in a single pack. I miss those days. Makes me sound old, I know. Javi Lopez, Braves. Trot Nixon, Red Sox. Travis Lee, Phillies. We've got a Glamour Boys, Mike Piazza. That's what the back of that looks like. For the Mets, of course. They're okay. Shiny. We have a nice Tony Gwynn, Padres. Here's another Rocky, Todd Hollandsworth. At least I've heard of him. We got Ross Glode, prospect for the Cubs. I don't know. Tony Bautista, Blue Jays, wearing the old headphones. Big old headphones like that. Back in style, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And there's the backside of that one. Jose Canseco as a Yankee and Richard Hidalgo for the Astros. JC says the card backs and the way they turn around, it feels like hitting a golden mirror every fourth card. Yeah. I suppose that's one good thing that Topps does do is when you have a variation, they generally have it go in the opposite direction so you can know that you have that. But, I miss nice hardy packs with decent card stock. Omar Vizquel, Indians. Chan-Ho Park, Dodgers. BJ Surhoff, Braves. Here's a crowning achievements. Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson for the Diamondbacks. Very just big hunk of gold there. Gold foil. All right. Al Leiter, Mets. Ray Langford, Cardinals. Here's a guy that I don't think I know. Augie Ojeda. Augie Ojeda for the Cubs. Mark Quinn, Royals. Juan Encarnacion, Tigers. And there's Jeff Bagwell for the Astros. Damian Easley, Detroit. Kevin Jordan, Phillies. Ruben Mateo, Rangers. And then trying to flip some of these around. Jeffrey Hammonds, Rockies. Carl Everett, Red Sox. Robin Ventura, Mets. And another prospect that I've never heard of, Corey DeHaan for the Padres. Where's Swinko? Swinko could tell me about Corey DeHaan. He played in 90 games in 2000 for the Padres. 103 at-bats, hit 2 home runs, batted 204, 4 stolen bases. So, he had more than a cup of tea that year. Adam Eaton for the Padres. I've heard of him. Ramon Martinez, Red Sox, and another prospect, Rodney Lindsay of the Tigers, who I have never heard of. He had 3 at-bats in 2000 for the Tigers. And he went 1 for 3 with a double. So, good for him. Nice night for Johnson. Randy Johnson fans, agreed. We've had some pretty neat Randy Johnson cards. AJ Pierzynski for the Twins. Never really liked him. Jay Bell, Diamondbacks. Dante Bichette as a Red Sox. There's a blast from the past. Will Clark as a Cardinal. Another guy in a team you don't usually associate with. Andy Tracy, a prospect for the Expos. No surprise. I've never heard of him. Aubrey Huff, I have heard of for the Rays. And Carlos Casimiro for the Orioles. Back to guys I never heard of. The prospects do not seem to be short printed because we are short pulling a lot. David Justice, Yankees. Jim Thome, Indians. And Barry Bonds for the Giants. Back when you could still get Bonds cards in packs. All right, we're betting who over under more cards, that Kit guy or Corey DeHaan. Well, we learned that Kit had what did we say, 50 some? Like, I'm going Kit at this point. I'm going Kit. That's my answer. Raul Mondesi, Blue Jays. Phil Nevin, Padres. David Segui, Indians. Julio Lugo, prospect for the Astros. Derek Bell, Mets, another checklist. Dustin Hermanson, Expos. Elvis Pena, Rockies. All right, Adam. Is that Coors? I don't know my stadiums well enough, and I've never been to Coors. So both players have a 2017 Bowman buyback. I can't even. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore, but Carlos Beltran, Royals, and another Carlos, this time Carlos Lee for the White Sox. And there's a guy I haven't seen in a while, Eddie Taubensee of the Reds. All right, I guessed right, huh? I can't believe they're both in the 2017 Bowman buyback set. That's just funny. Bruce Chen, Phillies. And behind him, Ron Coomer, Twins. Milton Bradley, not the game maker, for the Expos. We've got Adrian Beltre, Dodgers. Moises Alou, Astros. Steve Finley, Diamondbacks. Another prospect, Timoniel Perez. That's for the Mets, if I didn't say that. Charlie Hayes, Brewers. Jose Valentin, White Sox. And Tomas De La Rosa for the Expos. All right, I'm going to move these base cards just out of the way a little bit here. Slide this just over there. My stack's getting... And both those guys have more cards than Elvis Pena, Rockies legend. Oh, boy. Mitch Molesky, Astros. Okay, so not a prospect. Also a guy I've never heard of. But he didn't get the prospect. He was an Astro for 3 years already. He had 14 home runs in 2000. So Edgard Clemente, Angels. I love the dugout shots. And this one you can see the batting lineup for whatever game that is. Troy Percival, also Angels. Barry Zito, Expos. Oh, that's a prospect. There's a prospect we've all heard of. AJ Burnett, Marlins, another checklist. And then we have more prospects. Oh, boy. Talmaj Nanari. Talmaj Nanari. I have no idea who that dude is. Never heard of him either. But the way it's going, he probably has a signed Bowman card somewhere. Jorge Posada. That's kind of a neat shot of him grabbing the baseball, or about to, it looks like. David Ortiz, looking pretty slender for the Twins. Darren Erstad, Angels. And Ken Griffey Jr. for my Reds. I don't actually know if I have that Griffey card or not. Sean Estes, Giants. Greg Vaughn, Rays. Nick Johnson, Yankees. Behind him is something that doesn't want to separate. Another crowning achievements. Troy Gloss, Angels. Getting in on the shiny action there. And then we have several cards going every which way. Lance Berkman, Astros. Troy Gloss, Angels. So this is a Gloss hot pack. Cliff Floyd, Marlins. Willie Morales, Orioles. I like the random guy in the background signing autographs. I can't see who that is, but doesn't look like a ball player. Jose Vidro, Expos, and Mike Lansing, Red Sox. Right, JC says Molesky has been around, so I just don't know him. John Parrish, Orioles. Heard of him. Tim Hudson, Oakland. Miguel Cairo, Rays. He was a Red for a while. Prospect Dusty Allen of the Tigers. Another dugout shot. Chris Gomez, Padres. Mark Grace, Cubs. There he is. And behind him was Jose Ortiz, Athletics. Rafael Palmeiro, Rangers. Nomar Garcia Parra, Red Sox. And Matt Lawton, Twins. And we still have one more box to do tonight after this one. We had some pretty full boxes tonight. A nice Pokey Reese for my Reds. Royce Clayton for the Rangers. Todd Hundley, Dodgers. We have a Future Threats, Sean Green of the Dodgers, Magglio Ordonez of the White Sox, and Andrew Jones of the Braves. That's a pretty cool card. That one is an insert, so I will need to randomize that. We will do so when we're done with this box. So let me just put that right up there. So we will randomize that one amongst those three teams. I'll get my dice out in a moment. We got John Bale, Blue Jays prospect. Kazuhiro Sasaki, Mariners. Tom Glavine, Braves. A nice Mike Piazza for the Mets. Ken Caminiti, Houston. And Shannon Stewart for Toronto. All right, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more packs. JC's going down a rabbit hole finding the most obscure prospects. Honestly, I feel like most of the prospects, obscure is the best word to describe them. Not all of them. They got them right on a few. Kent Bottenfield, Phillies. Terrence Long, Athletics. Kind of a cool shot with the old-timey uniforms there in the dugout. Dimitri Young, Reds. We have another prospect, Juan Alvarez, Angels. And Mark Kotze, Marlins. Ozzie Guillen, Rays. Kind of a good bunting card there. Corey Patterson, prospect for the Cubs. Jeff Jenkins, Brewers. Dean Palmer, Tigers. And Sean Green just sitting on the steps. I like that card, actually. I always enjoy cards like that. I mean, I wouldn't want a whole set of cards like that, but having a few, I think, gives some needed variety. Rafael Furcal, Braves. Vinny Castillo, Rays. Eric Young, Cubs. Just sitting on a bucket. Miguel Tejada, Athletics. Rusty Greer, Rangers. Gabe Kapler, Rangers. Here's another prospect, Tim Drew. Not to be confused with JD. Tim Drew, don't know him. Mike Cameron, Mariners. Tim Drew was an Indian, if I didn't say that. Bubba Trammell, Mets. And Eric Munson, prospect for the Tigers, that I have heard of. At this point, I'm just happy if I've heard of the guys. All right, for the Diamondbacks, Tony Womack. Matt Clement, Padres. Bobby Abreu, Phillies. We got Ben Weber, prospect for the Angels. And there's a Pedro Martinez, Red Sox. Another checklist. Every which way. Grant Roberts for the Mets. I feel like I have heard of him. Jeff D'Amico, Brewers. Tino Martinez, Yankees. JT Snow, Giants. And Jeff Kent, Giants. All right, we're down to our last two packs out of this box. I'm curious what you guys think of this edition of Triple Crown. We actually have another Triple Crown box in Breakers Club, but it was 2000, I think, so the year before. Jack Jones, Twins. Carl Pavano, Expos. And I'm pretty sure that box is a hobby box as well, for whatever it's worth. Sandy Alomar Jr., Indians. We've got Devin White, Dodgers. JC Romero, Twins prospect, who I have heard of. Richie Sexson, Brewers. Another prospect, Hector Ortiz, Royals. Pat Burrell, Phillies. There's a nice Mark McGuire for the Cardinals. And a Roberto Alomar for the Indians. And our final pack. So we didn't hit anything, any autograph or relic, unless we get it in our last pack here. But they weren't guaranteed at all. Aaron Seeley, Mariners. Mike Hampton, Mets. Iravio Durazo, Diamondbacks. We've got Adam Piat, Athletics. Geraldo Guzman, Diamondbacks. Felipe Crespo, Giants. Pascal, oh boy, here's one I don't know. Pascal Coco, Blue Jays. I don't remember that name at all. A nice Larry Walker, Rockies, Jim Edmonds, Cardinals, and our final card, not to be outdone at all, Frank Thomas, the big hurt for the White Sox. All right. Let's quickly, we need to randomize. So I'll put those there, put this up there. We need to randomize this one. So we're going to keep it simple. I've got a 6-sided die ready to go. 1 and 2, it's going to go to the Dodgers. 3 and 4, it's going to go to the White Sox. 5 and 6, it's going to go to the Braves. Good luck. Move that up there. Good luck, everybody. Oh, I rolled it off the screen, so that can't count. I won't even tell you what it was. 2. So 1 and 2, that goes to the first spot. So that's going to the Dodgers. Let me make a quick note of that. Dodgers. And the Dodgers are claimed by Mike. So this will be going to Mike. All right. So what do we think of Triple Crown? I think it's all right. I liked it. I am such a sucker for the early 2000 Fleer stuff, as I said. I think I bought an awful lot of Fleer cards from that era. I did not buy the Triple Crown, though, much. I think they were more expensive, as I recall, in retail, because that's how I bought all my cards. Mostly came from either like a Walmart, or most of my cards around that time came from my local CVS. Sorry, I don't like the dust on my mat there. It bugs me. All right. So that's 2 boxes down, but we still have one more. We're not done tonight. No, we have another 18 packs to open. 5 cards per pack this time, so a smaller thing, at least in terms of number of total cards. But hopefully an exciting finish. So this is 2002 Upper Deck Authentic. And I didn't really mean to do it this way necessarily, but we ended up with a box from 2000, a box from 2001, and a box from 2002 tonight. I'd like to say I planned that out, but I did not. That's just how things ended up getting divided. All right. This one also has a sticker on it. All right. Now we can get in there. So we already have a pack trying to escape. These are your packs. Very retro. The actual like foil there, and then you get what appears to just be a giant hunk of styrofoam with nothing underneath. So that I can throw out. And here are all of the packs sliding every which way. All right. So let's move the box out of the way, as we do. And once again, good luck to everybody. So we can look for retro game jerseys in sort of 1 in 16 packs. We can also find autographs from Ichiro, Ken Griffey Jr., and A-Rod is what it says on the pack wrapper. So that would be cool, honestly, for any of those. Okay, so that pack did not rip very nicely, but let's take a look at our base cards. So we start with Matt Lawton for the Indians. And you might be able to see here, it says traded to Indians. It's a very old school effect. And just to show off the backs, looks very reminiscent of the early Upper Deck designs. All right, so that's Matt Lawton, Indians. JC says, look for reverse negatives, 1 in 9 packs. Well, maybe I'll know it when I see one. Luis Gonzalez, Diamondbacks. Marcus Giles, Braves. Maybe I'll just show the front and back of all of them. We have 2 Rays, Greg Vaughn and Brent Abernathy. I actually think I have heard of him, but I couldn't have even told you what team he played for. His name does ring a bell, though. Okay. For the Twins, Joe Mays. Chris Richard, Orioles. Mike Sweeney, Royals. Danny Wright, rookie for the White Sox, and Rene Reyes, rookie for the Rockies. Yeah, so this, let's see, we've got, that's the promotional stuff. Do they give us the odds? Reverse negatives are 1 in 9, as JC said. 1289 flashbacks, not hand numbered, but numbered out of 4,225. Heroes of Baseball, Ichiro Griffey and A-Rod, numbered out of 1,989 or 1989. Signed Griffey and A-Rod, numbered out of 185. Signed Ichiro, numbered to 125. And then jersey cards 1 in 16. Gold retro jersey, rookie jerseys numbered to 275, et cetera, et cetera. And there's some other ones still listed that are probably quite a bit rare there. And then, yeah, that looks like what the packs have. So I'm not sure how we know when we have a reverse negative, but I suppose you need the base card and then the image is going the other way. That's my assumption here. Roger Cedeno, Mets. Shown as Detroit there, but does say trade signed by Mets with the Mets logo. So luckily we go by the big logo there. Mike Cameron, Diamondbacks. Mariners. Bernie Williams, Yankees. Kyle Kane, White Sox. And Richie Sexson of the Brewers. We have Jose Canseco, White Sox. We got Nomar Garciaparra, Red Sox. We have a Ken Griffey Jr. relic. I mean, I'll take that for the Reds. Ken Griffey Jr. listed as a red right there. And there's the logo on the back. Can't really go wrong with that one. Ken Griffey Jr. I don't have very many Griffey relics, so I'm happy with that. Very cool. Usually I get sad, honestly, when I pull a relic that goes to me, but in the case of Griffey or Larkin, I make an exception. And we got Rich Aurelia jumping over Tony Gwynn, which is pretty cool. Well, I think those autos are rare enough that they might be seeded with a relic, so there's still hope. Eric Chavez, Athletics. JD Drew, high stepping down for the Cardinals. Todd Helton, nice one for the Rockies. Doug DeVore, Diamondbacks. And Matt Williams, also Diamondbacks. Next pack. Speaking of Mr. Barry Larkin, there he is for my Reds. Cliff Floyd, Marlins. Darryl Kyle, Cardinals. Randy Wolf, Phillies. And serially numbered A-Rod, 1157 out of 1989. Going to Texas. Texas. Where are you, Texas? That's going to Mike. Number down there at the bottom. I always like the Baseball Heroes design. I really like that Baseball Heroes set that they put out in 2008, I think it was. But it's a pain for group breaks because, like, I don't know, the last third or quarter of the set or something like that, it's all mostly like dual, triple, and quad player cards. And most of the time it features multiple teams. So kind of a pain for group breaks. So anyways, Shannon Stewart, Blue Jays. Edgardo Alfonso, Mets. Kurt Schilling, Diamondbacks. There's a Tino Martinez for the Cardinals. And for the Cubbies, John Lieber. Next pack. Greg Maddux, Braves. Doug Mickavich, Twins. Jeremy Ward, Diamondbacks. Orlando Cabrera, Expos. And Larry Walker, Rockies. I'm trying to look for like stuff going in the opposite direction text-wise, but I haven't noticed anything. Easily could have overlooked it, though. Jason Johnson, Orioles. Moises Alou, Cubs. Juan Uribe, Rockies. Jose Valverde, Diamondbacks. And Barry Bonds, Giants. Jimmy Rollins. Nice one for the Phillies. Whoa, we got a second relic. We weren't supposed to, but we did. Kevin Brown, Dodgers. Going to the Dodgers. Mike, going to you. We got a Kevin Brown game used jersey. Stars of 89. Not numbered on the back, but there's a surprise hit, so you never know. Cool. For the Rays, Brett Abernathy and Mike Sweeney for Kansas City. So once again, we're doing better than the odds would suggest. Royals, well, Astros. Bobby Higginson, Detroit. Edgar Martinez, Seattle. Brandon Donnelly, Angels, and Lance Berkman for the Astros. Jermaine Dye, Athletics. Craig Biggio, Astros. A-Rod, Rangers. Mark Quinn, Royals. And Kerry Wood for the Cubs. I do like these like old school feel of the wrappers too. Jeff Weaver, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. Tigers. At least as a Tiger, I should say. Kazuhiro Sasaki, Mariners. Miguel Tejada, Athletics. Kevin Frederick, Twins. And Fernando Vina, Cardinals. Mike Hampton, Rockies. Mike Lowell, Marlins. Rondell White, Yankees. Russ Ortiz, Giants. And Mo Vaughn, Mets. That was the year he was traded to the Mets. One of the many stars that the Mets picked up sort of after their prime. Fred McGriff, Cubs. Jeff Bagwell, Houston. Robert Fick, Detroit. Jaime Cerda, Mets. And Mike Mussina, Yankees. Next pack. Roger Cedeno, Mets. Mike Cameron, Mariners. We have another relic. I thought these were 1 in 16 packs. Oh, 3 unique jersey inserts, each inserted 1 in 16 packs. Okay. So, never mind. So, we were supposed to get 3 hits, and we did. Well, that's a fun surprise. Mike Piazza, Mets. Going to the Mets. That is going to Mike. Nice Piazza. I like that it's not just a white jersey bit. Cool. And Kyle Kane, Rocky. Not Rockies, White Sox. All right, we've got 2 final packs for tonight's break. And we begin with a nice Nomar Garciaparra, Red Sox. Jim Thome, Indians. Chris Baker, Toronto. Adrian Beltre, Dodgers. And then we have a Rafael Palmeiro, 1989 flashbacks, Rangers and Rangers, so I don't have to randomize it. Number 4,197 out of 4,225. So that is going to Texas. And luckily, I don't have to randomize it. So that's 2 serial numbered cards, and both going to the Texas slot. And our final pack for tonight. Ryan Dempster, Marlins. Sammy Sosa, Cubs. Wade Miller, Astros. Rafael Palmeiro, Rangers. And Pedro Martinez, Red Sox. And that is your break. So we ended up with 2 serially numbered cards, both Rangers, which I will sleeve in a moment, in big part thanks to JC sending me even more sleeves. And then 3 relics. The Griffey is the highlight as far as I'm concerned. Mike Piazza, though, not bad. And Kevin Brown, I like the design. I think I like the Stars of 89 design best of the 3. So all told, not too shabby. Pretty fun set. I like the retro design for sure. Card backs are nice. It's upper deck. You get a secondary photo. Half the time, the secondary photo is better. So I approve. I like the set. I hope you guys had a good time. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm going to get some of these cards sleeved here in just a second, but I won't make you watch me do that. So I think with that, I will say good night. But one more time, JC, thank you so much, especially for the large care package that I received today. And I will be in touch as the week goes on. We'll put some more giveaways up on the Discord, so do check that out. And yeah, I think that's it for tonight. We still have 2 more nights, and the next 2 nights we'll both have 4 boxes. So there we go. And JC says he's buying sleeves recently in 10,000 count boxes, usually drowning in. There was a time when I was drowning in them, but I'll tell you what, hosting group breaks, you go through a lot of penny sleeves for sure. So I very much appreciate it. And yes, thank you one and all, and have a lovely night, everybody. I'll be talking to you soon.